Welcome to the LegalTube podcast, presented by LawyerLocate.ca. Join us as we explore the latest trends, strategies, and tools for promoting your legal practice in the digital age. Hosted by Mark Robbins, CEO of LawyerLocate.ca, LegalTube, and Digital MSpace, where we're all about legal marketing online for Canadian lawyers. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Mark Robbins, your host, and I am so pleased to have as our guest today Toronto estate lawyer, well-known Ian Hull, who's the co-founder of Hull LLP. Welcome to the podcast, Ian.
Thanks, Mark. It's great to be here.
It's awesome to be here as well. You've been around us. I've known you we were just talking about that in the green room, for about 20 years now. You've been with Lawyer Locate. Your firm has been for 20 years. One of the things I want to kind of give you an opportunity to talk about, first off, is you've been an estate lawyer and your firm's been around for a long time. I believe it was 1998 you co-founded with your dad, if I got that right.
That's right. We have been around a long time. My dad and I started practicing in 92, but 1990 it was called, but I worked for a couple of years commercial litigation, and then I started with my dad in the early 90s, and then we formed a firm in 1998.
So let's tell us a little bit about your firm and what the nature of the practice is and the specialties that you guys work on.
Sure. So we are predominantly dealing with contentious estate-related matters. But we have a full-service estate firm. We have 3 lawyers who will do drafting. We have 17 lawyers who will do the contentious piece. So that part of it's the heavier lift. And when I say contentious, it can be anything from a spicy administration that the families, there's some tension and maybe people needed lawyers to get through some of the problems, right up to a will challenge or an executor removal application, an interpretation, and solicitor's negligence.
Oh, fascinating. And again, you've been in this type of practice area for a long time. I know that you're a highly respected law firm in the GTA and basically across Ontario. When we talk about the firms and marketing, and this is an area I want to jump right into with you because you were very much an early adapter to video, long before anybody else in the legal world was even considering it. Everybody else was still blogging. I remember, do you know Kevin O'Keefe of LexBlog?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I go back with Kevin a long ways, and I remember attending one of his seminars or talks in Toronto. I'm going to say it's like 15, 16 years ago, and it was at an LMA function, and he was talking about blogging on it, and I said, and then after he always does what he called beer for bloggers after these functions. So I went to it with him and started talking. We've sat at table together, and I too I had posted many times, a big believer that the future of blogging was video and that blogging was dying. And I remember getting into it. Wasn't heated, but Kevin can be quite funny. Went back and forth on that. And I said, Kevin, you mark my words, within 10 years, everybody's going to be using video. Nobody's going to read your blogs. Right. And I wasn't far off in the timing. Right. But you were one of the people I actually referenced to Kevin. I said, we have a client, Ian Hull of Hull and Hull. Oh, yeah, I know. And I said, he's jumped into video in a big, big way, and it's working. It's working because it's drawing attention. So when I look back at you now and I say, okay, you've got in there now, you now have a podcast, right? A better place to be, AI in the law, which I think is fascinating. You still do your webinars and your videos. Do you find that content from your experience has driven more clients than the traditional blogging?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say yes, but it's interesting because you see the video. I see the video as the single most important marketing piece because it's the chance for a second opinion that you can get yourself. Right? You need the referral. In our practice area, it's an estate area. So people need to know if there's death or there's a fight, that's where the lead has to come from. But it really is a question of verification beyond the referral that locks the lead. And that's where they get to see us, and they get to see my face. They get to see my personality. They get to see just are you going to connect as a lawyer-client relationship, which is really so important. And so I do find that most of my clients have maybe they heard the name from somewhere verbally or through an advisor or something like that, but they're almost always going to your video blogs to just test you.
Yeah, you know what, and Lawyer Locate for 23 years now, we've always wrestled with quantifying where people are finding you. And I mean, back in the day, it was, the internet. And trying to drill down, I have lawyers say, well, we don't know that we're getting business from you. And I said, well, you are. I mean, but when you do your intakes, there's a line in the sand. And unless you've got a really good intake person that really understands sales, you have to be careful, because there's a line where you're pushing too many questions on this potential client saying, well, where did you find the information? It's a line. So I would always say to lawyers, so let me ask you a question. I said, outside of your website, which by the way is not very good, what other internet presence do you have besides Lawyer Locate? Well, just Lawyer Locate. So then chances are, if they said they found you on the internet, they found you on us, on our website. So it's the same thing with you. I mean, people will find you today, and you hit it on the head. It's changed. TikTok changed everything in my mind for everybody in business and in personal and in social and influencing, because we've all seen what happens. If you don't catch them in the first 2 seconds, it's dismotion, right? So it's getting the hook is one of the big things for all marketing. Legal marketing in this vertical, it's just as important as it is when you're selling a widget. You've got to get a hook. And you touch on another point that I think is very important, Ian, is people getting to see and know you. I know with Lawyer Locate, we did all kinds of experiments. There's a lot of lawyers that only want to put their logo up there. And we kept telling them, no, put your picture there. It makes a big difference to the people that will actually read your profile. So your thoughts on this as we go forward. I get it that you're doing the podcast. Are you going to expand that practice or at different topic levels?
We're still working on it. So, but as you say, like we've designed our marketing on sort of a broad-based approach with a heavy emphasis on video-based. So we do what we have is an internal firm, Hull Estates, and we do that both video and audio, obviously, for our listeners. We're doing a new one with the AI and the law, and we also do continue to provide written newsletter style, blog style content, because we don't want to lose out on some of the, we are marketing to lawyers. And so lots of lawyers want to see something or print the article or have it, in their inbox somewhere so that they can reference it for research purposes. So we've sort of broad-based it, but our central focus continues to be that. And the topic areas we try to do is, and this is why we've expanded to AI, we're going to focus the AI podcast on AI. We actually think that's, some of the leading experts are saying AI is going to change, call center people and lawyers. And after that, it's going to start to change other people. So we're on the top of the list of change there. So we're pretty excited about that podcast from a standpoint, because I think AI is changing every day. We're able to have lots to talk about, I think, for a long time with that. So we're going to stay that stream focusing, but we're not going to lose our general sort of advisor level podcast of topics relating to estates that we're putting out as well, because that's going directly to our core audience, and that is lawyers and advisors.
Now, would you blend that into your A Better Place to Be podcast, meaning expand the topics from AI and bring in other topics?
I'm not sure yet. We're only into about 6 or 7 of the episodes that we've taped on that and are done now. And I think I worry. I'm not sure, because there's so much to talk about with AI. I mean, literally, like last week, a new Claude Legal dropped in that is probably going to change the tools forever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't help it. We want to talk about that. But the substantive elements of our practice area are going to start to leak into the AI podcast for sure.
Right. Because I think our experience, again, we look at it from a marketing perspective, AI, and, Lawyer Locate, I feel that we're so well positioned. And with the change that's coming dramatically going away from traditional keyword searching, and the talk that Google is going to be removing their search bar, that's coming if it's not happened already. And the emphasis is now on AI search. And AI search is all about background. It's all about credibility. And so this is where companies like Lawyer Locate, who've been on the internet for 23 years, being on our website is an instant citation. So when AI is looking and reading, they want to read about you, and that's what will draw them to recommend you. If they can see that you're part of these other organizations like a Lawyer Locate that's been around for so long, well, that gives immediate credibility. So Lawyer Locate, because of AI, is completely changing how we're approaching marketing Lawyer Locate. We're no longer trying to push the referral base. We're trying to push the fact that you need to be AI ready to be found, because you're not going to be found in a traditional Google search anymore. And, like we've changed, and we're going to our existing members and saying, okay, you had one lawyer on your firm as part of Lawyer Locate, and you've got 10 others. You need to have all 10 on Lawyer Locate, or they're not going to get found. It's not, AI is not searching for your firm. They're searching for individuals, and they're looking for individuals that have citations and credibility, and whether it's awards and anything where you talked about news articles. And this is why when we changed Lawyer Locate, we said, we want to put all of your videos on your profile page. We want to put any articles that have been written, any awards you've won, because that all lends to getting that AI search result that you need. And when I have clients like you, who I'm watching you acknowledge me, you get it. You understand that this is where we're going, and the game's changed for sure. So how do you, on that side of your marketing, how are you approaching getting your citations and that credibility out there for AI to find you?
Well, I mean, you've nailed it so precisely in my view, with the point about the Lawyer Locate, the source, right? What's AI going after to get you on the list? I was talking to a friend of mine recently who's probably, I think, probably in a very specialty area, probably the best in Canada in a specific area of the law. And he says that he is getting leads, enormous number of leads now, because AI is sending it to him, right? And that's not going to happen if you've got 3 blogs and maybe a white paper on the internet, right? You have to be, AI is going to go to the kinds of sources to come up with that suggestion, the kinds of sources that Lawyer Locate is, and the kinds of content that we've been putting on only supplements all of that, right? Like it's coming out, and it's not just volume. I mean, there's a great stats. What is it? Some 230 million books get looked at when you're looking at a search with a question in AI in a nanosecond. 230 million, right? So it's not. It can't be just about volumes of your presence on the internet. That kind of used to be the way, right? It has to be quality, and AI is going to be able to filter the quality resource that is putting you onto that list.
Yeah, and it's getting, every day, AI is getting better and better and better, more sophisticated. A lot less of the hallucinations are happening. We always made it a practice, and we always advise anybody that works with us that we're marketing for, is that AI is great, but again, you have to proof it. You can't just automatically take what ChatGPT, what Manus, what any of them are telling you off the cuff. You've really got it. And we've really worked hard. I have. It's just something I got fascinated, is working on prompts and working on, how you build out just if you're using, like we use Manus now. We had tried everything. And Natalie, who is actually, when Natalie well, that's our expert. And she made the shift from traditional organic SEO, which is what was our mainstay at Lawyer Locate, and we've shifted to the AI. And like I say, she tried all the platforms, and she figured, working with it, that Manus was the one that was working the best. Manus is really good at communicating back and forth. Manus learns very much better than ChatGPT does, doesn't hallucinate as much, and it starts to get to know you. And this is a big, one of those subtle little tricks that you got to do with AI when you're working with it, is being consistent and working with it and letting it get to know you and let it ask you questions. A lot of people don't like to do that, and they say, well, how can you have an expectation? This is an assistant. This is a highly trained in any area you're working with, but he can only do so much, or it can only do so much. You have to let it get to know you. And by knowing you, it's going to get to know what you want in a far more accurate way. What has been your experience in working with AI directly?
So we're really engaged in trying to train our team to work with AI. So training is a huge part of it. But to your point about prompts, that's exactly right. Like from our perspective, first of all, AI can help you with prompting too, right? And if you can say, listen, this is my issue. What prompt should I give? Give me a series of prompts for the question. So AI in and of itself can assist with that, and that really helps with the sort of the agentic learning that's going to happen with AI over the next short while. But our experience with AI really is coming down to first of all, there's lots of early adopters in our firm, and there's some that aren't, and so we've got a culture shift. So I look at AI as just change management, and I just keep saying, look, it's a tool. It's change management. Internally, we have to figure that out. And we as lawyers and advisors, anybody in the sort of service industry is in the business of checking your work. And it amazes me that people but people talk about hallucinations. It's not a hallucination. It's bad work product that you let go out the door.
Touche.
Right? And it just amazes me. It's like the judges get all mad about it. I'm like, no, it's the lawyer. I mean, a student could have done the same mistake and not checked their work, and you would have not checked it yourself, and you would have argued it and put the wrong case before the judge. Like all of that happens every day, but AI does it, and it's a chaos.
Yeah, exactly. And then, okay, so I'm trying to frame this properly. I don't want to get in trouble with the Law Society, but the Ontario Law Society traditionally has been, let's just say, a few years behind the rest of the country. How are they adapting to AI and how it's integrating with law? Has there been any new policies that have come down about this? Have they loosened it up, or is it still pretty tight grip?
So I would say, and to be fair, there's some great. They have an amazing team. Phil Brown and some of the people up there are really focused on making sure that the profession is starting to understand the important management of AI tools. I would say they are giving great direction. I wouldn't say our Ontario Law Society is as far behind in terms of it, because they haven't said what I can't stand is that you should ignore it, right? And that's that's the kind of attitude you see in the courts. And some of the people are talking about it. The judges aren't embracing it. The leadership in the courts aren't embracing it at the level I think it should. But the Law Society is embracing it to say there is change there. Here are some real protections that we should be considering. Law Pro is fantastic at it too. So I would say, generally speaking, the culture with our regulatory environment, both with Law Pro and Law Society, is they're realistic about it, and they are being proactive to the extent it can be. But as a profession, we're still lagging.
Right. Yeah. And I shouldn't center out, Law Society of Ontario. We see it because we're a national company, so I see the other law societies and bar associations. Everybody on a regulatory side seems to be having a bit of a struggle trying to get their heads around it, and not unlike businesses and the general public. I mean, a quick anecdotal story. We had an employee been with us for, I don't know, 8-9 years, and she had an opportunity come up for her, and she was going to leave, and we were great. We were grateful that she'd been with us so long. She did a great job, and inquired she was going to be a publicity director for a nonprofit organization in Ontario, in Kitchener. And I said, "Oh, that's great," and everything. I said, "So are you?" And this was 3 years ago, I think she left. So AI was still not, it was still the new thing. And I said, so are you, because she would argue with me in the office. I said, so you're going to use AI to help you, create some of your posts and your content. He says, oh, no, 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 no. I said, when I interviewed, they specifically asked if I would be working with AI. And she said, and this former employee said, no, I won't work with that. I don't trust it. And said, well, that's good. Then you can have the job. And I walked away from that conversation. I went, oh my God, like what type of thought process? You're afraid of technology. And it
No,
was a genuine fear. And this is a very intelligent young lady, and she had all her education and all that, Ian. And but she literally, we would not get arguments, but we would have some heated debates because I'm a big believer. I love technology. I embrace new. I'm the old guy in the room that makes the young people go, "What?" you know. But it was
yeah.
just, and then the organization said, "No, we're not. You are not to use that AI for any of our work." Do you have you had that type of experience with any of your people?
Yeah, well, internally, I have, and truthfully, we are so for AI centric now that we are not going to tolerate it. We so if you go to the business community, you go to some of the big consulting companies and the big accounting firms, they're tracking use of AI. It is a foundational element of their compensation and their bonuses, and they are firing people who aren't engaging in it.
Wow.
So that is the extent of what some companies are doing, and then there's the other side of it, which you've just described. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't really care if companies want to be lagging. It's like saying I'm going to ignore the internet, or as a lawyer saying I don't need a computer on my desk. I mean, you heard those things when that came out then too. But this is a game-changing circumstance for which we are getting on a bullet train, and the bullet train is just starting to ramp up. It's probably at like 80 clicks an hour. It's going to get to 300 clicks an hour, and it's not going to be easy to get on. And
No.
it's not because you can't learn it, but you won't have the culture shift to get into the game, and it will decimate those people, I think. But it's not going to decimate advisors. At the end of the day, we're still going to, people need advice. And so it's whatever service industry you're in, as long as you're able to give advice, you're going to be golden. It's just that nobody's going to tolerate 20 hours on an affidavit of documents. No chance. Like that's just that market is going to be gone soon enough. And most sophisticated legal suppliers are already saying, no, not a chance. If you're on the insurance defense side, you're not going to get 20 hours for an affidavit of documents anymore. I don't care how many documents there are. Those kinds of things are just, that's the reality. And so if you don't even know the tool, you don't know what to do, you're going to find some bumps on your own business road.
Yeah, it's funny you point that out because I don't know if you remember this. I was retired private investigator for 30 years in Ontario. And one of the things that always used to drive me nuts when I was acting on behalf of lawyers was there was discoveries or whatever, and we would say, and you'd see the bill come in, and I'd look at that and I said, there is no way you did 15 hours, and this is the lawyer, and you're billing your hourly rate. The reality is you had a clerk at 30, well, back in those days, $20 an hour that did the work, and you're billing me at 150. Like, no. And we'd always end up taxing the bill, which you understand that. And I know I developed an ugly reputation with a lot of unprofessional lawyers, and I didn't really care about that, because I thought it was more important. And this is like more to the point about AI. Again, lawyers, in my opinion, law firms have to understand that if you're going to get the benefit of using AI, meaning it's more cost effective, you're going to have to pass that along. You can't get AI to do the grunt work and then bill somebody at $600 an hour because your name's on it. And to me, I think the public is far more sophisticated. Certainly, corporate is far more sophisticated than that. We know this from Lawyer Locate because we find it used to be the days, the McCarthy Tetros were huge, and that all the corporate guys were looking for the big firm. I got to have the big firm name. Not anymore. And that's like 15, 20 years ago. It shifted to, I want to know who the lawyer is that's actually going to do the work. That's who I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to the firm. I want to know, is Ian Hull doing the work for me? Fine, then I'll meet with Ian Hull. But Hull and Hull can have a great reputation, and that is partly old school marketing. But I say now, I mean, when Natalie created Lawyer Locate 23 years ago, one of the early interviews she did with Law Times, she said that we saw that the big firms were breaking up, and we saw the future of law, certainly in Canada, was small boutique and sole practitioners. That was where it was going. And I think that's played out pretty closely. You know, Miller Thompson is what, half its size, if that? So a lot of the big Canadian firms kind of are going the way of the dodo. Not like even Hull and Hull, you are more streamlined for a firm of your caliber, which I would assume is done on purpose and a deliberate move to keep your firm lean. Because I think you see it, Ian, that's the way things are working today.
I agree 100%, Mark. And I do think, our firm, we have focused our marketing on quality of service, personal reputation, building up the personal reputations of the other lawyers. So it's not all just, like you say, I want them to know my name of my partner. I want them to know that person wrote a blog or was on a podcast or did the video interview with us. Because then, well, first of all, it just makes good sense, right? You can't be on every file and you can't be everywhere. But secondly, more importantly, is that is the way to preserve a high quality firm. It's not adding lawyers. We haven't changed really, and our lawyers go up and down 3 or 4 maximum. It hasn't changed in 10 years because we have decided that exact approach, and that is quality first. We take lots of our leads. It's not like we're taking on just only big cases or something like that. We are streamlining our systems, and technology has driven that until before AI was driving it, and it's still going to drive it. And that is expect to put in, if you're going to put in less time, and this is the other thing that makes me sort of laugh about lawyers who are worrying about it. Well, if I don't have the hours, what am I going to do? Well, you're going to market and you're going to get more files, and you're going to make more money because you're going to have work. So it's pretty funny.
That's great advice. So, Ian, I like to do this just to kind of shift gears a little bit, and you kind of touched on this earlier in the podcast. So, what I'd like you to do, if a little exercise here, I'd like you to tell my audience a couple of things about you that nobody would know, or nobody would know about you outside of the office. Like, what's Ian? Who's Ian Hull outside of work?
Well, I'm a fly fisherman, not a great one. I'm a fly fisherman. I think that's probably my secret spot of just winding down. And I'm also really deep down, I'm probably a closet entrepreneur. And that's not, a lot of lawyers aren't, and I get that. But I'm always looking at business related opportunities to build on what I'm good at, and not that I'm going to go start a refrigerator company or something, but I know where my sweet spots are, and I see it as opportunities. No, I'm not a good investor either. I'm a terrible investor, but I feel like what drives me in some respects is that I have this sort of grinding entrepreneurial spirit, and I love fly fishing.
That is so cool. That's really interesting. And I would never have guessed the fly fishing. The entrepreneur, that doesn't surprise me, because I just, from knowing you these years and watching what you do with the firm, and like I said, back to the way you market, you've always been ahead of everybody else. I mean, I have no client from the beginning days of LawyerLocate.ca that were so advanced and understanding where the future was going than you and your firm and your partners. Certainly, Susanna has been great that way as well, and Aiton. So I'd be remiss, because we're getting near the end of the show. You've been a member of Lawyer Locate. We established that for probably over 20 years. Lawyer Locate obviously sponsors this podcast. I'm going to ask for an honest evaluation of what your experience has been as a member of Lawyer Locate.
So I think, first of all, I really needed it when you guys came out with it. All right. It was a tool that I couldn't conglomerate what you were doing in any effective way. And in terms of being able to elevate the leads the way and organize the leads the way it does. Okay, so number one is it was a tool that I needed, and so that was wonderful to have. It's fun when you get a tool and you go, hey, I actually need that one, and I'm going to try it out. but it has been, and it continues to be one of these sort of deep rivers just in the system of marketing that continues to, and I know because we don't, like you said, we don't drill down deep on the lead. We don't, but when you do, we hear enough that it does come through Lawyer Locate for sure. But when you do see where the leads are coming from, it has to come from some organized source. And Lawyer Locate has been able to continue to give an organized way to look to a lead, to find the lead and send it to us. And so I mean, I never flinch every year when I look to the renewal, because it's just one of those, it's one of the prongs of marketing that I don't have to worry about. I know it's going to work, and I know it is working because of the lead sourcing that I do here. But I also know if I don't do it, I'm going to miss out.
Yeah, that's very nice words, Ian. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to us whenever we get positive feedback, and certainly from someone like you, Ian, who understands maybe at a greater depth of level what Lawyer Locate is trying to do, and you know, building our brand over 23 years. And like we said during the podcast, there's a huge shift in legal marketing from our perspective, and we're making that shift. Where I sometimes have some challenges with some of our clients that aren't quite as maybe internet sophisticated as you are, is they tend to base the Lawyer Locate's value on referrals. Well, you know, I only got 3 referrals, or I only got, and the best example I can share with you, and this you probably will understand, is, you know, we've had lawyers leave. Obviously, you know, not everybody stays with us as long as you and a number of others. But what we've seen, what I used to see, was about 80% of them returned within 6 months. Most of those were because they hired either an SEO or an IT person who said, you don't understand what you're getting from Lawyer Locate. Lawyer Locate being affiliated with that, and that link is driving traffic to your website. Never mind what they're sending you in the emails. That's value. You don't get that SEO for $900 a year, right? And that was the organic SEO. So like I said, Ian, we're shifting that now to the AI SEO. And I'm going to say, you show me somebody at the value of what you pay, even if it's the monthly, at $90 a month, where you can get the type of SEO result with AI that I believe Lawyer Locate is delivering.
Absolutely. And you know, the truth is, if you're a good lawyer, like I said, I'm a terrible investor because I don't spend time watching the markets. I can't spend time on what you're doing for me. That has to be subcontracted out, because it's important. It's a vital part of your marketing plan. But if you're going to try to replicate any of that, you're just wasting your time. You should be out there either doing work or chasing files, not doing that.
Exactly. Ian, thank you so much. This has been a real joy for me. I got to be honest, this is fun. We got to do it again. Maybe we can arrange something where we can get both you and Suzanne on. And, you know, you and I can maybe talk through email and come up with some topics that you'd like to talk about. And I'm happy to host it and have you both on, because this is fabulous. It's good to catch up. It really is good to catch up with Ian. I know Natalie said to say hi to you, and that she would have loved to have jumped in, but she's, as usual, knee deep. She never rests. And I don't know whether you know this, but we're not in Ontario anymore.
I know you're Calgary, right?
Yeah, no, we're in Canmore.
Canmore,
So,
sorry.
literally, I walk out have you ever been out this way?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So I literally, outside my front townhouse window are the Three Sisters. So when I get up in the morning, take the dog out for a walk at 5:30, that's what greets me. So it certainly has mellowed me a lot moving out here. So yeah, it's been great. Ian, thanks once again. A real pleasure having you on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks so much. Great to catch up, Mark.
No problem. Okay, everybody, that's it. It's been a great show. Again, Ian Hull. You will get all kinds of information on Ian Hull, his practices, his podcasts, his videos will all be under the bottom here in the section. If you like the podcast, if you like the video, please subscribe and like. It helps us to move forward. And if you need any help with the state law, I can highly recommend that you reach out to Ian Hull at Hull LLP in Toronto. Thanks again. It's been a great show. See you next time.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the LegalTube podcast. Ready to take your legal marketing to the next level? Our show delivers expert insights and practical advice to help you succeed in today's competitive legal landscape. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this podcast is for you. For more information, check out LawyerLocate.ca. And if you have any questions, get in touch with us. Thanks for listening.